Hey everybody, it's NeekaPod here, and it's gonna be another episode of the podcast. It's been a couple of weeks, I believe, since the last one, with the patch and everything coming out. Super busy, so definitely didn't have time to do something like this. You know, you have a certain amount of gaming time and everything like that around your real life stuff, and you can't always, and then I still do the videos as well. So, yeah, definitely didn't have an hour of just random time this past week to do anything. So this one we're going to actually be talking about for the first part. So I've been kind of doing these in two parts: a World of Warcraft part, and then just whatever topic part that I feel like talking about. So for the World of Warcraft part, since it's been 2 weeks, there's been a patch and stuff. Just going to kind of talk about everything going on in the game right now, my thoughts on everything in the game, changes, stuff like that. And then for the second part, I'm going to be talking a little bit about like trolling and that kind of toxic internet environment that we all kind of live in. So, World of Warcraft, we just had the big patch, 8.1.5. We have Colterians, we have Zandalari trolls. Um, I guess that's what I'll talk about first. Colterians, I think they're really cool actually. Some people have had some really cool transmogs for them already. I know that I've seen some that are kind of like, I believe it's like Captain Underpants or something like that. And they you can make some really funny transmogs out of them. I made a mage named him Chris Farley. You have all kinds of kind of cool stuff you can do with having like a bigger, more plump uh, character. That's not something we've had an option to be before. You could do like a Shrek and Fiona or something for a guy and a girl if you're like a role players or something like that. All kinds of interesting things you can do. You can do all the famous bigger guys, Ralphie May, all that stuff. So I really think they're cool. The Haymaker thing's pretty cool, where you have a knockback stun thing. It's really neat. We only had like one person in our raid turn into Colterian, but he was like a shaman, and it's kind of cool as an ally shaman that he could just like run up and punch you. I don't know. It's just kind of funny. Like I don't know. I really enjoy the idea of it. If they could be paladin, I probably would have just changed my main over to Coltiern, but it is what it is. But I really enjoy. I think they did a good job on this one. I'm glad that they like made a new one completely. So like Dark Iron Dwarves are just remodels of dwarves. Magheart Orcs are just remodels of orcs. But the Colterians are a whole new thing. Like they it's not just a remodel of human, it's just a whole new thing that they made, like a whole new skeleton, new everything. So I think that's really cool. Next step is probably update the Worgen and Goblin models. I know Worgen are not a very popular thing to play, at least right now, but maybe if they make them look cooler and have maybe different effects, like when you cast certain spells, like you're a human or you do other things, you're a wolf kind of thing, or a Worgen. I think that'd be kind of cool. But then we have Zandalari Trolls as well. I'm not Horde, so I don't have that unlocked or anything yet. Probably will by the end of the expansion, just for the sheer enjoyment of it. But they look really cool. The Magheart Orcs look really cool too. But the Trolls, they just look, when they stand up straight like that, they just look more powerful and strong and more dominating, I guess. So they look really cool. They have a pretty cool racial as well, with their regenerating, or I think it's what it's called. And I don't know. I think Blizzard hit a home run on the allied races. That's something that they have to keep doing. That I know that they plan to keep doing. Um, the way their screen set, they're gonna have to at some point. They're gonna have to remodel the UI on the login screen. So first of all, we're gonna have 50 characters on one server now if we want. So that's gonna have to kind of change. Like the way that's set up. I don't want to scroll through 50 characters. Um, Probably maybe make like a little square if you think of like League of Legends or Heroes of the Storm or whatever, or like old style fighting games where there's just a little square and then the name pops up, something like that. And then you also have to have something like that for the create the races, as you get so many of them that you have to you have a lot more to scroll through. That's actually a good thing. Some people might not think it's good, but the hard part is keeping everything balanced with the racials and everything. But if you're able to do that, it's definitely a good thing. More choices. People like to choose things. People like to switch back and forth through things. It's good. It's a good model for a game to do, as you see most other games doing things like that. So I think they've hit a home run with allied races in general. I think that I mean it's they have a lot of misses, especially this expansion, but they hit certain things too, and that's important. Um, what else do we have? So we have um, still in Zoldazar, Tel'Dazar. My guild personally, we're on Mechatork now on Mythic, so uh, honestly might get him tonight. We'll be Vanis ruining him tonight, and we have 3 hours, so let's see if we can get him down. We've gotten to the last phase a couple times, so without Vanis and everything, so we should get to last phase consistently, um, and yeah, should be down and move on to the blockade. And there's I actually got a weapon the other night, so last night or Tuesday night, so I actually don't need a weapon, but that would have been another opportunity to get a weapon for me. Uh, as far as I do want to talk about personal loot as well. So personal loot, I've been all for it, and I still am all for it. But man, I really saw the negative impacts of it during this raid tier. So I'm now pretty much caught up in gear. Not all the way, but somewhat. And I'm almost up to 410 item level finally, and so I just wasn't getting any gear. I had gotten one thing that was wearable through like the first, I don't know, until like 2 weeks ago. It might have even been last week. So I was getting no loot at all, and we only have the most we ever will have is like three other plate wearers in the group, and sometimes it's just like one other plate wearer in the group, depending on the night. So there's not a lot of tradable stuff back and forth. I guess there's possible that we would have five at the most. I think, yeah, the most we would ever have is five, but that would be very rare. That would be a fill. That'd be a fill in, and yeah, that would just having all the play online at the same time and needing all of them at the same time. So that's not super likely, and so yeah, so I finally got my weapon uh, Tuesday night. I actually got that from a rep paladin that we have in the new rep paladin we have in the guild, and he he has really good gear, like full everything. He's gotten like it looks like he gets stuff nice and forged up from the end of his mythic pluses. It looks like a lot of his stuff, so he has like 420 from just a mythic plus and stuff like that. So that's obviously really nice. And so he has really good gear on like every slot, or he just does a ton of mythic pluses, which is possible as well, of course. Although when I do sign on randomly, I don't see him online, so I'm guessing he's just really lucky. But I'm not hating on him at all because he already has the weapon off the first boss. He got another one with leech on it, which is obviously better, and he still gave it to me. Although he was not, forced to. I didn't even ask him to. He just did it, so that was really cool of that guy. Frontinus, I believe is his name. And so I got a weapon finally, and now I can finally do semi good damage, especially as an opener. I still don't have the prime stats. I have pretty good Azerite traits, but I still have the prime stats. But I'm pretty well set off now, so I'm pretty happy about it as far as that goes. Um, uh, Let me think here. So another thing that I think Blizzard has gotten right. Let's talk about that. What it needs is even more of this stuff, right? So the big thing with this expansion was putting out like the island expeditions and like these war fronts and stuff like that, and those are good. So some people hate on them, whatever. No, they're good. They need more of that stuff, not less of it. So what do I mean by that? I love having something to do. Now I'm not a big Dark Moon Fair person. I've gotten some stuff there. I think the games are a little bit too stupid. They need updated. How about that? With more modern, you know, coding and everything like that. Like just make the games a little bit better. How about that? And they could probably easily do so. make it more like a make low go, those world quests where you get, you know, put into like a different interface. That's how they should probably do these games, and I think that would be make them more fun. And honestly, maybe I should suggest that somewhere. But so anyways, but like the fair, you can get these toys, you can get mounts, you can get all kinds of crap at the fair if you choose to do it. And I've done some of this stuff, like I said, over the over the course of a decade or however long, I've done some of this stuff, but I'm just not really into the fair stuff. However, I don't mind going, for an example, going to Dark Shore and killing, you know, whatever, however many world quests there are that are I like to do. I don't like to do the ones where you have to kill like 8 of these, collect 10 of these, if possible. But if there's like 3 or 4 blue ones where you just have to kill like a main guy, I don't mind going and doing 3 or 4 of those real quick. Get 3 or 4 medals, and saving up my medals to get a cool mount. And yeah, they need to actually make the mounts cool too, or and like maybe offer toys. Like there are toys, but like I like saving up currencies and getting stuff with them. I think that's kind of cool. You can do the same thing with Seafarer doubloons, and I think that there should be even more of that stuff. I don't see why not, right? Like, uh, yes, it has to have a purpose, of course, but I just think it's a really cool thing, and it's something that's always been in the game. If you think about it, like you had the Hala tokens, for example. It's just something that came to my head immediately. Hala was a outdoor PvP in Nagrand in Burning Crusade, and you could get tokens and you could buy stuff there, different kinds of things there. I think there was a mount there as well, a towel book that you could buy from them, at least maybe more. You had, and then of course you've had like the Netherwing things where that was mostly rep, of course, but you could collect the eggs and stuff. But basically, the whole point of what I'm trying to say is have these little things that you can do that aren't necessarily your like Warfronts are cool because you can get a nice piece of loot, especially for an alt, um, from doing the first one a week or whatever. So Warfronts are cool in that manner too. But you can also then you complete the first one, you get the Legion medals or the Honor Bound medals, and then you can save those up for the cool stuff. That's something that's something I really enjoy, and I want to get back into doing things I enjoy more on the game. Because now when I get a chance to play, it always feels a little bit more like work because when you do videos and stuff, like yeah, it's a hobby, but like it's okay. I have a couple hours to play tonight. Better do something for my channel or whatever, and that's fine. But I should also be doing things that I enjoy more. So what do I enjoy doing? I enjoy farming mounts. I enjoy farming cool things that I like pets and stuff like that. If they had transmogs and stuff, I would like that too. That's the kind of stuff I enjoy doing. Just as like when I'm in casual mode, right? So you just like relaxing. That's what I like to do. Other than that, I would play like a shooting game or something less. You know, shooting games are. I'm not trying to say shooting games are easy, but just something less. You just point and shoot kind of thing. Right? So that's just kind of where I'm at on that. I want to do more easy stuff when I just casually have time to play, and that could include farming metals, farming seafarer doubloons. I need to do that stuff more often, honestly, because I actually enjoy doing it. Other things I enjoy doing is farming. Like it's almost like a gambling aspect, but like farming like rare items. So like or trying to. I've never really gotten like the most rare one. I've gotten a rare item, a very rare item, honestly, but it's just not in high demand anymore because there's just cooler stuff than it now. Transmog item, but so I'm kind of giving some stuff away here if you don't already know it, but in Stranglethorn, there's a Crocolisk, Basilisk, whatever, that drops a sword, a rainbow sword type thing. It's like the only one in the game that has that model. It has a low percent chance to drop it. It spawns like every couple hours. And when they first found out it was there was just tons of people farming it. It's a lot less hectic now. But if you get that, that's obviously huge. But that's like 2 hours. Like I'm not gonna. I don't like that's. I can maybe kill it one time. A day if I'm lucky enough to sign on when it spawns. So that's not super likely. That's kind of like the time lost proto drake, which I would love to get, but it's just one of those things. I don't have that much time to lose, I guess, at the current moment here. So um, then like running things like Ultimate, like old instances, right? So when they changed the level thing, by the level thing I mean the level scaling. So like now when you're max level, when you go back, everything's level 60 now, right? So if you go back to an old instance, it's level 60. So whether it's Dead Mines or whatever, everything's level 60 in there. And so I go in to Oldman, and now you can get this. I think it's the miner's hat is what I'm looking for, and it's really rare, and it was gone, but now you can get it again. Now I haven't gotten it, of course, but you can also get other lesser things that are still worth, uh, 1,000 gold here and there, and it definitely makes it worth it. For me, that's the only gold farming that I actually kind of like to do, and even then, you don't always get a return because that kind of stuff is overpopulated because of other people farming it, and then other people just leveling characters through instances with the dungeon finder. You get all the greens, you get a lot of the blues, and then the rare stuff does pop up, but not as often, like the miner's hat I'm talking about. And then there's other things like the Shadowfang blade, I believe, from Shadowfang Keep, that's available again, and all kinds of other items are available. So that's something I like to do as well. I didn't mean for this to turn into what I like to do, but just general WoW talk. So I guess that's fine. What else is going on? We have the quest line. So I don't know the Horde quest line, admittedly, but the Alliance quest line is basically so. Spoiler alert: Jaina is meeting with Matthias Shaw and head of the Seventh Legion guy, Halford Rumbane, and a rogue pops in, Valera, something or other, and says, "Hey, Bane Bloodhoof wants to meet with you." Matthias Shaw says, "I trust her. If Anduin trusts her, or Varian trusted her, or whatever." So they meet, and Sylvanas had Jaina's brother captured, and we've heard mention of her brother before, which now, of course, was just foreshadowing. But we so Jaina's brother's back, and Jaina's all doesn't believe that it's true. Like she thinks that he's filled with blight and he's going to explode and kill everybody, and that was the plan. But Bane kind of saved her, and we do know Sylvanas is pissed off that Bane did that, and that Sylvanas might, kill him or the Tauren or whatever. But that might also start a chain of events if she did do that. So it's kind of like this whole drama thing going on. That's kind of where they took the writing these days. And I've seen people on both sides of it. Like, I don't know why people hate on it so much, but for me, it's fine. I think it's kind of interesting. Like, I don't watch that kind of stuff like on TV or anything, but I definitely understand. Like, to me, it's a good plot. Like, you bring, oh, they have a secret brother that's back, and oh, betrayals and stuff like that. It's very much like a soap opera or something like that, or something very dramatized. But I think that's a good story, and if everybody in the player base hates it, then obviously it's not a good idea. But I have a feeling like the casual players kind of like, oh, it's kind of cool, like oh, it's a pretty cool storyline. If they're whatever, even if they've read the books, I've read some of the books, and I think it's kind of a cool storyline. So we have that going on. I'm just, I know there's a lot more stuff in the patch, but I'm just like drawing a blank right now on the patch stuff. Um, that's what I mostly wanted to talk about. I turned this into a talk about what I like about the like what I like to do in the game right now, and other stuff. But I can't really remember everything in the patch now. I just am drawing a complete blank mostly. So um, yeah, so I guess I'll just jump into the second part now. So that was a little bit short. Short talk on World of Warcraft there, I guess, but it is what it is. Um, so I'm going to talk about trolling in toxic internet environments. So, which includes, of course, gaming. So I'm trying to lay this out in a way that doesn't, because I'm gonna be in the minority on this, right? I already know that. So I guess tell you a little bit about myself. So I've always been like anti-bullying. I think it's I hate when someone bigger and stronger is picking on someone smaller than them, weaker than them, less outgoing than them, whatever. Just and and the only reason they're doing it is like to make themselves feel better or to like laugh at them or get other people to laugh at them. Like I get it. Like you can. I don't mind if someone weaker than you is like being a complete douche to you and starting everything and you want to like push them down or something. I'm completely fine with that. So it's not like that. I'm just saying, like if you're the one starting it, you're the one doing it, and you're more powerful, or you're like so much smarter than them, and they're clearly like not very smart, and you're just bullying them basically. I've always been against that. I've always been, I shouldn't say always, but um, I was always a good size for my age, like height wise, and not. I was actually a really skinny kid. Then I was actually a really fat kid, and then I was kind of really skinny again in high school. But I was always like a good height. I was very confident in my own strength, even when I didn't have a lot of strength. And I've always been against bullying, basically. So when I was like in second grade, so I started school a year early. I didn't skip a grade. I just started school like a year younger than everybody else. So I was in second grade, but I was really the age of a normal first grader. And there was a fourth grader, and he actually was held back, so he could have been a fifth grader. So there's quite a big age difference. He was probably twice my height. Like he was already like going starting puberty. He was a big kid, but he was kind of awkward. When you first get a big growth spurt and everything, and you're really tall, you're a lot more awkward. So it's not like he was like he didn't have command of his full size. I would say that, but I was still much younger than him, and he was bullying a girl in my class, and you know, I think he was like just mocking her and just saying all kinds of mean things to her out during recess, and so I remember walking away with my friend at the time, and us thinking, and we're us saying to ourselves, "Oh, that's not cool" or whatever, and I just turned around and I just in a blind rage just ran at this giant kid and tackled him and took him down, right? And I didn't get in trouble for it, nothing, because he didn't go tell on me, and he wouldn't. I mean, that would have been really much of a bitch move by him of being so much bigger than me. But what did happen was him and his friends then tried to bully me, like the rest of that year. So during recess and stuff, they would like chase after me. Um, they would like pick on me if I was like at the urinal at the bathroom or something like that, and it sucked. So like it honestly it definitely sucked, and it was being bullied, and there wasn't anything I could do. If it was just one of them, maybe I could, and like I told teachers and stuff like that, and like they never hit me or anything like that. Let's be clear here. If they would have hit me, then I probably would have went into a blind rage again, and either just they would have had to probably kill me at that point. But um so that's just kind of who I've always been. That's just the whole point of telling that story isn't to brag or anything. It's just to say that's always who I've been since a kid. I hated bullies. I was never a bully. I got physical with people 4 times in high school, and by physical I mean just put my hands on somebody. I never like beat the crap out of anybody because I'm not. I mean I'm not a bully, um, and I each time was because someone was bullying, and in all the cases it was me. Um, One time it was freshman year. This kid just way bigger than me. He's in my own class. I was really quiet still at the time, really kind of meek, and he he would like he was like just being a complete dick, and he like would like slap my face during it was like during art class, and so finally I just got sick of it, and he literally like this dude he could have broke me in half, and I just hauled back and slapped him across the face. And he's like, "Did you just hit me?" I'm like, "Yeah." stop touching me. And, everything was done after that, right? He kind of respected me more after that. But he was just a bully, right? So, other times just was like pushing kids against a locker because they were just being douchebags, um, bullying, just doing silly stuff, right? Nothing huge. Just I'm against bullying. It's a lot of words to say that I'm against bullying. Always have been. What I view trolling as is bullying. Now, I need to clarify. There's a difference between trolling and like memeing, or trolling and being hilarious. Like if if someone's talking about something, okay, so no offense to anybody who is, I guess, or offense, I don't care. But flat Earth is stupid. Okay, if you genuinely try to help somebody first, like, hey, no, this is why it can't be flat. If you genuinely try to help, you're not being a dick, you're not being condescending, and you are trying to help somebody, and they then are like condescending to you or whatever, have at it. Troll the hell out of them. Like, you get what you deserve after a certain point, right? So, and that, like, so I'm not saying all trolling is bullying, but like when you sign on to whatever thing, whether it's World of Warcraft, whether it's Twitter, whether it's, you know, you're old and it's Facebook, um, when you sign on to something and your only goal is to get a rise out of somebody, right? So it could be that you're just super passionate about a topic. So you're super passionate. Maybe you're super passionate about flat Earth. Maybe you're super passionate about some political thing, or whatever. And all you do is all day is get on people's cases about whatever it is you're doing, and all you want to do is get a rise out of them. You keep yourself cool because you've just done it so many times that nothing phases you, and you just want to get a rise out of somebody, and that's all you do. That is bullying. And my natural reaction is, if I so someone does that to me, I immediately go, okay, that's a troll. You're a worthless piece of crap. I don't like you. That's what I'm saying in my head. If I go to their page and I see that they've been doing it for like every day, like if I go, let's say like their Twitter, right? I go to their Twitter and I see this is all they do. They just troll people all day. They troll people all day, every day. All I want to do is just beat the living crap out of this person. I want terrible things to happen to this person. They're a miserable bully. That's what they are. They probably view themselves as a victim, right? That's how a lot of people like that are, because maybe they got actually beat up in school or in real life or whatever, and maybe they actually got like physically bullied. So now they're like, oh, I can just terrorize people online. That doesn't make you any better, man. That makes you the same as the people that bullied you, and it makes me want to beat the living crap out of those people. And it sucks that there's no recourse right now for trolling. That's really what this conversation is going to go, and how toxic that this internet culture currently is. So right now, I could get on, as long as I kept my manners and everything like that, I could troll the hell out of anybody I wanted, mercilessly. I'm a high IQ guy. I'm pretty good with words. I have a pretty extensive vocabulary. I I know I'm pretty knowledgeable at a lot of topics, so I could just go on and troll people mercilessly. Just try to make them feel like crap. Just keep it going until I find someone that I trigger. And there's absolutely no recourse for that whatsoever. As long as I'm not being hateful, as long as I'm not being bigoted, you know, there's no recourse whatsoever. That's an issue. More so of an issue if me, or if I'm trolling somebody, if I stand up, or if someone stands up to me, or just whoever, that person is going to be punished by whatever platform it is, by doing so. So I'll give you a couple examples here. So again, and let me be clear. The answer is to ignore it. I understand that. Every ounce of my being, my mind, my heart, for whatever, heart, soul, whatever you want to view that gut feeling is, my mind, everything in me tells me not to ignore it, right? So it's really hard, but I understand that. That's the answer is to just ignore it, right? But I'm gonna go into why that's not good either. But I I'll just go into it right now why that's not good. So when you just constantly have to ignore people who are being jerks, you're letting the jerks win, and you're also being silenced. So if I didn't tackle that kid who was bullying that girl, he would, and let's say no one ever stood up to him for his entire school life, he would just think that there was never any repercussions for him acting that way. That's not true. There are repercussions. You can't do that in every environment. You can do it on the internet, and that's about it. Anywhere in real life you do that, you have a chance that you're going to get your ass kicked by someone a lot bigger and stronger than me, even. And then that's true for me too. Like I always say, I'm not scared of anybody that's like just a normal person. But if you have like extensive military combat training, or if you're like an MMA fighter, even like a low level one, then yeah, you're probably gonna kick my ass, right? So guess what? I'm not gonna talk shit to you because that's stupid. Like I'm not trying to get beat up, right? So, but on the internet, people just do whatever the hell they want, and there's no repercussions for it. So one example, I'll use League of Legends as an example specifically because WoW is not as bad about punishing people, which is actually a good thing. There's actually a little bit of freedom of speech on WoW. That's something they should get credit for that they don't. But League of Legends, so that's everybody knows how toxic that is, right? So there'll be times where my cousin, my cousin calls these people, um, they're like, and he has nothing against them, but he calls them like Swag Lord 420, right? So just the general troll guy who's just he views them as smoking weed, whatever. That's why he calls them Swag Lord 420. But just your general just troll guy doesn't give a shit about anything, just there to start shit kind of thing. So it's extremely conceivable in a game like League. It's a group of five that if you play, you could have potentially three or even four of these people on your team at the same time. It's not super common, but it does happen. And what will happen is that, so let's say nobody said anything before the game, right? And you're trying to win, and you say something. So let's, whatever, like, hey, can I get a little bit of help? Whatever. And then one of them starts just calling you names or whatever. And then the other three start trolling you too. So now the entire match you have them trolling you. Now I think there's a way to mute the chat and stuff like that. Again, silencing yourself. But what happens is they can just troll you without without using curse words, without whatever, using hate speech, quotation marks. But they can do that for the entire match. A league match can last half hour, can last an hour. They can do that the entire match to you. Nothing happens. If you stand up for yourself in an angry way, and if you don't get angry, what they're going to do is they're going to troll you harder, right? I've dealt with a lot of trolls. Yes, what they want to do is trigger you, but if you're genuinely angry, you can get the point across that you're serious, and like to an extent, I almost have to believe that these troll people, to an extent, are all very weak in real life. I know that can't be true. There has to be like some super jock or some super strong person that's also a troll. I know statistically that has to be the case, but it just seems like if you're angry enough with these people that they eventually do back down, and if as long as you're genuine about it, and that's my experience. So I don't want to sit here and have four losers talk shit to me for an hour. I want to be able to defend myself, and I can't. So if I defend myself, I use some curse words. I say fuck you, whatever. I get banned then. So they control me for an hour. I say 2 lines of something negative in chat, and I'm banned. That's not good culture. That's toxic culture. That's silencing me. That's silencing. That's silencing people who. So that's silencing me by the platform. My other option is to silence myself. So I can either get silenced by the platform, in this case League, Epic Games, whatever, or I can choose to silence myself by muting or ignoring them. Neither of those is an option. That's not freedom of speech. I know not everybody is from America, but in America we have freedom of speech guaranteed to us, and that is not freedom of speech. And that is something that needs to be reckoned upon to these companies like Epic Games and like Twitter. Twitter's a good example as well. There's people that are just professional trolls, right? All they do is they sit on Twitter all day. I don't know. They must, be on disability or have some sort of money coming in or some way, somehow. But they just sit on the internet all day and trolling people. And you can get ganged up on by them, by like a group of them that are on the same cause or whatever. They can just troll you mercilessly. You can't do anything back, or Twitter will ban you. So recently, I got banned. I won't say specific stuff about it, but like of what it was about and stuff. But basically, people were being really trolly um, to the person I follow, and then like their followers, and it was a lot of people, and they were just kind of being. And not all of them were trolls. Some of them were just stating their opinion, right? If you state your opinion one time, that's not trolling. If that's all you do all day, that's trolling. So there's multiple people like that, and I would respond back to them just something witty, just like whatever, and just something witty back. And then some of them would come back at me, and then there would be like a gang of them at me or whatever. And then at some point, so did I have to respond to them? No. But freedom of speech says that I can respond to them. Did I respond to them rudely initially? No. Some of them I even just asked a question. And then they immediately go into attack mode or into like troll attack mode, whatever. And then at that point, I have to walk away, silence myself. Because if I respond the way that they need responded to, then I will be silenced by the platform. So I basically, so what I said to this one person was, I go, you would never talk to me like this in real life. I would, or I would throw you in a trash can. And then I believe in like the next tweet I called him like a little bitch. Which, by the way, people call people a little bitch a million times a day on Twitter and don't get banned. So I got a little ban on Twitter, and this isn't on my World of Warcraft account, by the way. This is on a different account. It's like an account I use for like politics and stuff like that. So it's not like my main account. It doesn't reflect directly on me. It doesn't have a actual doesn't actually tie into me at all, this account. So other than like Twitter can IP check and everything too, of course. But so I got banned for hate speech against a protected group of people for saying that if you met me in real life and talked to me the way you're talking to me online, I would throw you in a trash can, and then I'll just add, you little bitch. That is hate speech against a protected group of people. What group of people? This person did not have an avatar. Like, they were just like a random, an account, again, not associated with a specific person type thing. So the only thing I can pick up out of that is that the protected group of people are little bitches. Are they a protected group of people? When did I miss this? Because holy shit, I don't think that can be a protected group of people. Obviously, they were just wrong. What happened is that person got their little group and they all reported me at the same time, and so they banned me. So I'm appealing these. I highly doubt that it's not like a permanent ban or anything, but I highly doubt that it'll be removed, even though I don't understand it whatsoever. And So and then when you go to appeal this stuff, so I found this out because I'd never been banned like this before. I found this out, so I go to appeal it, and it's like this could take a while for us to appeal it. You can just go remove your tweets and apologize. They don't say apologize, but you can remove your tweets and apologize, and you might get back on Twitter sooner. Well, fuck you, Twitter. I don't give a shit. Like, screw. I would rather, like, if you're gonna silence me anyways, I'm just gonna go the hell off your platform. Like, you're so stupid that I don't understand the thought process behind this stuff. It's you're not only rewarding the trolls, but you want to get everybody that's not a troll off of your platform. You want to get anybody who stands up to trolls off of your platform. And I said jokingly to a friend that all it's going to eventually be is there's going to be trolls on one side of an issue and trolls on the other side of the issue, just trolling each other. That's all that's going to be left. And what's going to happen is some normal people are going to turn into trolls because they don't have any other choice, because it's either that or be completely silenced. And this is a big issue. It had come up on a big podcast, Joe Rogan's podcast. If you're left wing, you're probably not a huge fan of it, but I'm actually pretty liberal, and I actually am a pretty big fan of it. So they had Jack Dorsey on from Twitter, and they were talking about this kind of stuff, and I was agreeing with it, but I never had it really happen to me before, right? Like, first of all, I'm a nobody, but second of all, like, I'm not that controversial. I'm not going on Twitter just cursing people out every day, right? Like, I'm not going on trolling people every day. I just stand up for things when I think it's right to stand up for them. That's all. So I'm sitting here thinking, yeah, this is pretty much bullshit, right? So the whole thing on the Joe Rogan thing was that it was biased against conservatives. I mean, I'm not a conservative by any stretch, and I'm banned for no damn reason. I think it's against not necessarily conservatives. I think a big part of this toxic culture is against anti-alpha, anti-strong men and women, and it's women too, and it's against it. And why is that? I don't know. Is it conspiratorial? Right? I'm not a big conspiracy person, but is it conspiratorial where they want less strong people to have a voice? They want weaker people that they can control easier? Is that the point of it? Like, well, I don't want a strong voice on my platform because I can't control them. Is that it? Or is it, just the echo chamber of the environment? So when you're on Twitter, so let's say you're Twitter's banning police or whatever you want to call them, and you see this report. So you see all the tweets, you see them trolling me, but you might not view it as trolling because maybe you agree with their point, right? So maybe you agree with them. Because in this case, it was a very liberal point that I don't agree with, right? So I'm very liberal generally, but I don't just fall in line. I have my own opinions. So it's a very liberal point that I don't agree with. And so maybe they do agree with it, right? So they might not see it as strong. They see this guy as truth telling to me, right? And then they see me call him a little bitch. And they go, wow, how dare him? How dare he say that to that truth teller? We're going to ban him. That's a protected group of people, apparently. And so I think since I'm not a big conspiracy person, you can go down that route. But I think that's the real issue here, is that they're is that they just have this echo chamber where and also I got this, I think it's like a 7-day ban. Before that, I had like a chat, just like a little restriction. It was like a few hours. The few hour thing was for threatening violence, which I assume was if I see you, not if I see you, if I were to see you, and you talk to me like this to my face, I would throw you in a trash can. That is threatening violence. Now, that was only a minor ban, whatever. I could not say that. That's not a huge issue for me. I could word it even more in a way that it's not a threat. if I see you, so I'm a random, in this particular case, I'm a random avatar. He's a random avatar. If I see you, I don't even know what this guy looks like. Okay? If I were to see you, and then you talk to me like this, so first of all, so now this little meek person has to have the balls to talk to me to my face in a random place that he sees me like this, which isn't going to happen. And then I said, then I would throw you in a trash can. So there's two qualifiers there. There's one qualifier is if I see you, which I don't even know what you look like. There's another qualifier that they have to then talk like a complete asshole to my face, which isn't going to happen anyways. And if it does, then I would do that. And that's not a threat. That's just a reality of the situation. Like like if you jump off the building, you will break your leg. Like, is that a threat? No, that's telling you if you jump off this building, you're gonna break your leg because it's too tall. Like, let's say it's like a 4-story building or something. Like, if you do this, you're gonna get hurt. That's not a threat. That's just the reality of the situation. And so maybe, and that ban wasn't as long. Like I said, it was just like a couple hours or whatever. But then immediately got hit. Not immediately, but like very soon after, I got hit with this thing against attacking a protected group of people. Which the only thing I'm looking, it was 3 tweets, and the only thing I did, there was the trash can thing, and then there was calling them a little bitch. That was it. That was the only thing somewhat offensive, and that was while I'm being trolled by not only this person but other people in the same thread. But again, it's not trolling if you agree with the person, I guess, right? So you're in this echo chamber. I also want to point out that um, I've been one. Again, I'm never gonna make this super political, um, but like just on a general topical manner, I was one of the people that said like, if you know like that whole the kids in the MAGA hats, and then the Indian dude came up to him, was like pounding the drum in their face and stuff like that. Um, I don't care what side of that you're on. I don't give a damn. All I said was if a little kid, he's like 17 or whatever, however old he was, he knows better. If he was smirking at me like that, I would have a really hard time not punching him in the mouth. And so I've said that. I said that on Twitter, right? But I didn't get banned for that, for a threat. So I don't understand. Again, is it because the people agree with me there? Like, so I'm on the liberal side. It's like if you say whatever they want to say, want you to say, then it's fine. And the same thing goes for League. It's just an echo chamber of this. It's this and everything else. That's not just League and Twitter. It's everything. So it's just this echo chamber of these trolls they might have the same personality as the actual people in charge, which leads me to believe that the people in charge are actually trolls. And that's the only thing that's left me to believe. Why else would these people not be being punished for clearly being trolls? If all you do is troll people, then you're a troll. You should be banned. You should be silenced. You're contributing nothing by doing that. And again, let me clarify something that I said at the beginning before I started, or when I first started this, and that's if you're just memeing, if you're being hilarious, then that's fine. When you're being hateful, when you're trying to elicit a response, when you're trying to hurt somebody, that like when those are your goals, then that's not okay. If you were just straight being hilarious, like you're like a comedian, like a comedian could be called a troll, right? Or like you don't have to be a professional comedian, but like you're just like a comedic by nature person. That's fine. Like if it's abjectly hilarious that even like the person you're making fun of might not laugh, but like people who agree with them or like their friends are laughing, that's funny. That's fine. Memeing, pretty funny, right? You can kind of troll with memes, but as long as they're funny, that's fine. But other than that, no, it's not fine. So I don't know what the whole deal with that is. Increasingly the internet culture is just like completely draining me as somebody who doesn't like to be silenced, but kind of likes to stand up for things that they believe in. It's been really bugging me. Like I said, kind of bring it back to WoW before I end it, but WoW is somewhere where you actually kind of can talk. So what I've been able to do in WoW before is, it was in Legion. I had somebody, they were killing stuff right before other, so it was all alliance. It wasn't like horde doing it to alliance. Like that's not necessarily trolling. It can be, but that's also kind of like you could be role playing that you're at war with them, right? So I'm fine with that. So it was an alliance who was just killing stuff right before other alliance could kill it, and I watched him do it to a couple other people, and then he started doing it to me, and I whispered him, and he got all trolly back to me. Oh, whatever. You probably live in your mom's basement. No, I own my own house. Oh, you're probably a virgin. No, I'm married and I have a kid. Blah, 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 blah. Just the typical troll stuff. Probably younger. Honestly, it's like kind of like the basics of trolling. Let's be honest. And just goes on and on, just being a complete dick for no reason. All I said was, "Hey, why the hell did you do that? Don't be a dick." Like that's the just of what I said. And so what ends up happening is we end up having like a 20-minute conversation where I'm not backing down, man. I just keep telling him he's a dick for doing what he did, and because he was, and it was annoying. Like it was, I can't remember what quest it was exactly, but it was one where it's just kind of annoying. It took too long to do anyways, and he was ruining it for like five other people too. So there's me and like five other people just like, come the hell on, dude. And so we end up having this long conversation where I won't back down. I don't want to back down. And I said some bad language to him, and I said some mean things back to him as he's being a dick to me. And what happened by the end of it? He goes, "Dude, he's like, okay, I get your point. Yes, I was doing it. I was wrong. I'm sorry. I'll stop doing it." And I think to myself, I go, sometimes that's all you need is you need to be able to freely talk to somebody, whether it's 20 minutes, whether it's an hour, however long it takes. You need to be able to freely talk to somebody without getting banned, without getting silenced. And yeah, that person could have muted me, and most often they would have, right? And that's fine. That's them silencing themselves. I'm not getting silenced for standing up for the right thing in this case. It's not right for someone to screw up a quest for someone else, right? That's not play. That's not in any societal norm. So I'm standing up for the right thing in this case, right? I'm not saying I'm always right. In this case, I definitely was. So I'm standing up for the right thing, and I was able to talk to this person, and they ended up. Now, did they do it again the next day? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they still were doing it. They just stopped doing it at that time because of the conversation we had, and whatever. Whatever. We were me and those other people finished our class real easily, and it was over. And I never went back to it after that. But sometimes that's what you need is you need to have this discourse. You can't be silencing people all the goddamn time. It's so annoying. It's so toxic. And this culture needs to be fixed, or else people aren't going to like where it ends up. Like, you don't need me. I'm a nobody, right? But you need people like me who stand up for things. Without anybody who stands up for anything, everybody would be slaves, right? If you go back in history. If you never had anybody who was willing to stand up for anything, everybody would just be slaves to whoever started with all the ownership. So you're all going to be minions to Blizzard, to Epic Game or Riot Games, to Epic Games, whatever, to all the gaming companies. Like you're all going to be slaves to Twitter, to Facebook, to these giant tech companies, to Google, to Amazon. You need people to stand up for things, and if we're all being silenced, that's not good for everybody else. And it's a toxic environment. It's something I'm extremely passionate about, and it's something again I'm thankful for. WoW. WoW didn't ban me at all. I cursed a million times. I was mean back to this person because I was trying to figure out what was actually wrong with them. Um, and I think honestly it was just a person having a bad day, right? And they were just trying to take it out on other people. But and I didn't get silenced though, right? And I've never been banned from WoW, and I've been able to have these discussions. And I don't know if is that because the people who run WoW are a little bit older. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know that they are older. I don't know. I don't know. But they read these chat logs I'm assuming, because I'm assuming I've been reported, at least in a trolly way, and I've never been banned. So hats off to WoW and Blizzard for that. That's very rare. There's still a ton of trolls, and I'm not ever going to be able to talk to all of them, right? But and not that it would help like it did in this time either. But hats off to them for not silencing, right? And hopefully they don't turn into that culture, because then I'll eventually be done playing WoW because I'll just be banned. Although I don't play as much now, time wise, so maybe I wouldn't, because when I get on, I just do my crap and I get off. So I don't know. It's something I'm extremely passionate about. It's something that I very much worry about. Having a kid myself, for what the world's going to be like when he's old enough to, really get into stuff on the internet or whatever. And I just hope it's not going down this route of silencing. People are speaking out against it. They're speaking out against Twitter and speaking out against things, and I think it needs to be talked about more. I wish I had a platform. I wish I was a bigger person, as far as like notoriety and being known, like being a no, like I wish I was like the amount of following as like an Asmongold, right? Because I would actually take that and actually make a difference, right? Instead of just being a sellout type person. But it is what it is. Hopefully, somebody else who has a following, maybe more charisma, can do something about the way this is headed, because it's not good. And yeah, so sorry this wasn't super about WoW, only the first 20 minutes or so. And definitely something I'm passionate about. It is, it's just something that bothers me a lot. So again, I'll say this at the end of all of them pretty much. If you actually listen to this whole thing, that's awesome. Uh, Thank you a lot. Tell other people to come subscribe to my channel, because that means you're probably pretty into it yourself. That would be great. Yeah. And other than that, everybody have a good one.